What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Morbid Curiosities. I'm Mercedes Martinez, and with me is the nefarious necromancer.
Nicholas Ewers. How's it going, guys? How's it going, Mercedes? How are you doing today?
Not too bad. It's been a while since I said your nickname, so I had to make sure I was saying the right one and the one that you actually like.
It caught me off guard, kind of. I was like, oh, yeah, I do have a nickname.
Yeah, we always have you do the intro, so you're saying mine, but I never get to say yours, so we got it back now.
Should we just hop right into the movie we're talking about today?
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump right into it.
All right, guys, so spoilers ahead. Today we're talking about 28 Weeks Later, directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. I want to say I'm pronouncing that correctly. He has another movie called Intacto. If listeners haven't checked it out, it's a very interesting, cool, I want to say Spanish language film. It might be on our list of movies to cover. Right off the bat, guys, like, go check that movie out. But Mercedes, so this movie coming out from a promising director. I want to say this is his first American film. Had you seen this before the podcast?
I had not seen this one before.
All right, all right. Do you want to give your initial thoughts on it?
What the fuck did I watch? Because I I did not expect this movie. The first one, 28 Days, banging movie, crazy turns in there. This one, I hate everybody in here. My god. I was just mad about this. Again, I went in completely blind. I don't even look up the cast when I'm going to watch these films, and I haven't seen them before. So I never know who to expect. Seeing Rose Byrne,
Often comedic actress.
I mainly know her from the Insidious movies, but I have seen her in, what was it? She was in Neighbors, right?
Yeah, she was in Neighbors, Insidious. I'm seeing here the X-Men movies. She was in Sunshine. She really flops back and forth between horror and comedy, actually. And then she was in Place Beyond the Pines too, Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids,
It's
yeah.
a really kind of fun career. The two genres she really chooses to kind of hang out in. I really have an appreciation for her.
Very versatile.
Yeah, you don't really see anyone like her.
She understands the assignment when it's given to her. But this film had a lot of stupid decisions that were made. I remember you had said that. I just didn't know how stupid these decisions were. I'll bitch about them more later. Let's go into your opinion on this movie.
This movie, I had mentioned it before on the podcast. Actually, this was the first horror movie that I had seen in theaters. I was in about, I want to say, seventh grade when this came out. I didn't have too much experience with horror at this point, but I went in. My friends and I bought a ticket to see Delta Farce, I think, the blue collar comedy movie starring Larry the Cable Guy, and I forget who else is in there. So they got our money. That contributed to their box office, not this box office, which I don't think did crazy well, so I apologize for that. Fox Atomic and whoever else is behind the release of this movie. Yeah, this movie, when I had seen it in theaters, it scared the living shit out of me. I was so tense. There were two contributing factors. One was the fear of, I mean, because we snuck into a movie. It was probably, I'm pretty sure, my first time ever sneaking into a movie. So there was the fear of getting caught, because this was the point where people actually would check your tickets. Ushers would come up and down the aisles through the theater, actually, with flashlights to, I think, check and see if there were underage people that snuck in. I don't know
Mhm.
what their deal was. I've gotten caught and thrown out of one movie, Death Race. I mean, sidebar, have you done any of this? Snuck into a movie or like gotten caught or any of this?
I used to sneak into movies. When I was in junior high, the friends that I would hang out with, we would try to go to a movie once a month. And It was the same movie that we had snuck into because we got there late. We were going to see Corpse Bride, and it had already been on for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. And we didn't know how much we missed, so we watched it and then we just snuck into another theater right after to see the next showing. And we were like, "Oh, this was only like a tiny piece that we missed."
Were you going in just without buying a ticket, like actually sneaking into the theater?
No, I would buy a ticket for one movie, but then after that movie, I would go sneak into a different theater to
Mm.
watch another movie.
So you would movie hop, a classic movie hop.
Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days.
Sneaking into a movie. I did that a lot for horror movies actually as a kid. Like very frequently, one of my friends and I would be sneaking in. Fun times. Anyway, 28 weeks later. So I see this movie and I'm fucking terrified in my seat the whole time. It's just the stress or the fear of being thrown out and the fear of everything in front of me. I was like very new to horror. I grew up in a very Christian household that didn't allow any type of horror violence at all. My I was sneaking this from my family too, in a sense. I'd gotten done with a paper drive at church earning confirmation hours before I saw this movie.
Look at you living that double life.
Oh man, I loved it. I loved this relationship to horror I had like built within this year of hanging out with this group of friends that was one of my first real group of friends. I didn't think I'd be really getting personal right now.
Just letting it all out. I love it.
Yeah, it was a pretty meaningful time in my life. So I walked away from this movie absolutely terrified. I mean, this is an aggressive horror movie when it comes to the violence and intensity. I'm able to really sit down now and watch it and pick apart what I like and don't like about it because this is definitely a flawed movie, but just that initial watch and I wasn't as like film brained at that point if you want to use that term, but that initial watch was just so formative for me and I had nightmares for weeks and was afraid to fall asleep because in the back of my mind I was thinking, What if a zombie apocalypse starts when I'm asleep? Like I'm a goner. I'm for sure going to die. These fast-running, vicious, brutal zombies." I also didn't understand them because I hadn't seen the first movie, so
Mm.
I just thought they were straight up zombies. I didn't know the backstory, but yeah, that was my initial first watch, and I guess everything I'm gonna say going forward is tinted with that a little bit, but I would like to point out a lot of this movie's flaws and just how absolutely ridiculous it is at points and often dumb. I have it at a 4.5 star rating right now on Letterboxd. Follow me at Nicholas Ewers. It flops between 4 and 5 and or 4.5 and 4. Yeah, this movie is kind of ridiculous, but I know that was a long-winded something, but yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so let's talk about, you could say, loyalty in here for lack of a better word. So in the first one, wow, I can't remember the girl's name. The main character in the first one, she was
Selena.
basically Selena. Yeah, wow. I should have remembered that. But anyway, she was basically saying, don't get attached to anybody because everyone is going to die essentially. And in here, right at the beginning, you have the couple you think you're going to focus on for the movie. The wife, she is becoming a little, you see she's a little protective of the kid that they just let into their cottage. Everyone, the family, or all the people that are hiding out, they're in this little cottage looking thing. This boy's banging on the door trying to get in, and you see the wife is just trying to make sure he's okay, and then all the infected people are breaking into the house, killing off everyone one by one or biting them, whatever. And they run upstairs and the kid's being a little shit running away. Yes, he's scared, but the wife, she tries to go help him, where her husband is trying to get her out of there, like, "Nah, fuck that kid, like, let's just go." But she goes. Honestly, you can see the motherly instinct kicking in for her, and the husband just says, "Fuck you, I'm out," and just closes the door while she's in the closet staring at him, and the infected zombies or whatever are in there. You see the husband, he's just dipping off in the distance, looking back at the house, and then he sees his wife getting snatched away, so she's dead, or at least that's what they imply. There was no loyalty there. This guy was a fucking coward and just thought about himself.
Yeah.
Such a fucked up way to go. And you clearly kept looking back at your wife to see her. And it was such a twist to see that, when they're bringing people into that security safe zone, these two kids that you are now following are the kids of that father and the mother. So that was.
You didn't expect those 2 kids to be their kids?
No, I didn't. So I was thinking, wow, these kids are going to find out some way that this guy just did their mom bogus like that. I could feel it. I didn't know how, but I felt it. And then even the conversation that he had with them, like, yeah, I saw her getting bitten. There was nothing I can do. You straight up looked at your kids and lied to them that there was nothing you could do to save your wife, to save their mother. What a fucking coward. Ugh, I hate that guy. And I hate his kids too. They are the reason this shit spread again amongst them. Just saying.
I wanna I'm gonna take it from the top. Yeah, they do say in the dialogue, actually, it's very hard to hear. The beginning is very soft spoken, which I do kind of enjoy. It takes me back to being in the theater, actually, not having subtitles, and you almost have to lean in to listen to what they're saying, which makes that first zombie popping through the fucking boards so, like, that jump scare gets you. But
Mhm.
they mentioned that their kids went on a class trip, and it doesn't fully, when you hear it, you don't initially connect that these 2 kids, when you're seeing them, are their kids. I at least didn't for a while. I just, the dialogue is very difficult to follow at the beginning of this movie. I really love this intro. I think this is one of the most effective horror intros, like, at least for me. I watched it with my girlfriend, and she didn't like the camera work at all because of how fast it was. She thought it was just kinda bad and hard to see. I really, like, enjoy that aspect of it, how chaotic it is and hard to see. It makes the geography of this movie, I do find challenging in a frustrating way. I don't think it's a feature. I think it's a bit of a flaw, and that's due to the camera work a little bit. The first movie had the fast camera work, but I felt like you could keep track of where every character was in relation to each other and within the location. This movie, it's very difficult to tell where people are in relation to each other and what's happening with the zombies. But that being said, I love how chaotic the intro is, how, like, this makeshift family gets ripped apart because they fucking helped a kid. It's like, yeah, you leave that kid out there. This is, I know it hasn't been that long. It's like 28 days, maybe less at this point. This takes place at the same time as the first movie, somewhere in there. But yeah, you should know, like, you let that kid in, everybody's dead, and they are, and he takes the coward's way out. And you don't really see that in movies. And I kind of love that about this movie. I don't really like what they do with the dad throughout the rest of the movie, but I love that, like, this movie wastes good opportunities left and right in a frustrating way. But I love that they made the character that we're introduced to a yeah, fucking coward. He's like, "You're picking the kid. I'm out of here. Then I'm looking after me."
Would you have made the same choice, or would you have helped your wife or your girl? I mean, and then this random kid that you don't know?
I was talking about it with my girlfriend, actually. I don't think I would have let her run across the room to the kid. I don't think I would have allowed her to be away from my side. That was kind of my determining thing.
Mm,
Wherever we were located in the room, I think we would have been there or ended up there together. I don't think I wouldn't have allowed, like, the running away from each other, and she was like, "Yeah, I can see that." So, yeah,
good
I
answer.
didn't feel like that was a bad answer either. Yeah, thank you.
Good answer. Good answer. You got some good qualities tonight. Yeah, the intro super super chaotic and I was expecting that level of intensity to be throughout the entire film and it just kind of goes downward from there. They tried, but they don't succeed at keeping that intensity up. So after, they are in their little security safe zone, the dumbass kids are like, let's go back to our house to find a picture of our mom because the youngest one, he thought he wasn't going to be able to remember his mom. Okay, understandable. But how the fuck did you two slip out of that security zone and no one fucking like you hear someone saying like, "Oh, two puppies escaped or whatever," but no one goes after them until the very last fucking moment. They're at the house. The boy, what is the son's name? I forgot his name.
Oh, Andy, played by, check out this. This is a movie filled with interesting names. Macintosh Muggleton.
Muggleton. And then his sister Tammy is Imogen Poots.
Imogen Poots. I love Imogen Poots.
And then you have fucking Damon Pope from Sons of Anarchy in here, Harold Perrineau.
You also have Idris Elba, oddly enough, a British actor in a movie with, it takes place in Britain. There are other British people in the military. He's playing an American, though. I wonder if that was a choice he made. It's like you probably could have just been British, Idris.
Right, right. Yeah. That's another reason why I don't want to look at the cast because I like being surprised when each character is introduced. But yeah, you have
This is a stacked cast too. Like not of big A-listers, but everybody's a face pretty much. Like the lead actor too, he was Rumpelstiltskin on like Once Upon a Time for 10 years or something like that.
but yeah, you got this the kids, they're in the house, they're looking for their picture. They find their picture and then the fucking son Andy, he goes up into like this attic or something and then he finds his mom there. I guess she survived, but you see something's wrong with her eye. She has like a big splotch in her eye. She is able to, she's still a human essentially. She hasn't been infected where the rage has overtaken her. So she hugs her kid, but then she's getting too, physical, like trying, like, looks like she was trying to scratch him or like
She
prevent
wants to like
herself.
rip through his back basically.
Right, exactly. And then that's when he starts screaming, and then all of a sudden, all the damn military is there to come save them. Great fucking timing, guys. But then they get the kids out, and then they're trying to just like wipe clean the mom, and that's when the kids have the conversation with their dad, like, "Oh, you thought or you told us, like, you saw her die. You saw mom die." He's like, "I didn't say those words. I said she was bitten." And what a fucking coward. I swear. Such a fucking coward. He deserved to go out the way he did.
And we'll get into that. Their actions, it's like, okay, your dad, I
They're
actually picked
stupid.
up on this detail. Yeah, their actions are stupid. His dad, he's like a custodian or like a maid for this like new civilization. I didn't pick up on that until watching this. He has clearance to go wherever he wants, but that's just because he's a custodian. Custodians usually have that kind of clearance, but he tries to
Oh, I
pass.
didn't pick that up until you said that right now.
Yeah, his daughter calls him the help, and then he scans her and, like, locks her out of something as a joke, and he's like, "No, I
Mm,
run the place." And
that
I
makes
was
sense
thinking
now.
he that is how, like, a custodian would behave, or, like, a head of buildings and grounds would behave. I've met people like that. He's kind of one of those people. Cowardly would fit that a little bit
Mm.
too. So it's very interesting. But his kids, like, go inside of places, fucking make a bunch of noise, jump around on a trampoline. I get you were
Right.
off on a school trip, like, wherever the fuck, not where this took place. Everybody is dead. Your mom is dead as far as you know. Why are you lingering here and, like, just I won't this has been exhausted. I'm pretty sure how dumb these kids are in this moment, so I won't go on about it. But yeah, it's wild, man.
Yeah, the kid was jumping up on a trampoline, and that was so stupid because you're calling attention to yourself where you're at with all of your noise you're making. I actually thought it was going to be similar to the first one where Killian Murphy was, like, in the house and you see the little light or candle that he had, and then you could just see the point of view from the outside. I was waiting for that. The fact that that didn't happen let me down so much. That would have been justified because that kid was so stupid in here.
Yeah, this movie really doesn't have, in the same way that Sinister 2 doesn't really have the nuances of 28 days later, this movie also really quote unquote subverts too much, in my opinion. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's as bad as a Sinister 2, but yeah, this movie doesn't really live up to the movie that came before it, unfortunately. But next, basically, they take the mom in and get a sample of her blood and are like, okay, she's immune to the rage virus. We have to do some kind of testing on her blood. And British Alba, Jesus, Idris Alba, British, not British Idris Alba, says basically, I want to say he's advocating to kill her, which in the end he's ultimately right. Keeping her hanging around is what undoes all this. But then she gets a little visit from little old dad. The kids are locked away too and pissed at dad, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know." And that's not his accent. That's not how he sounds. But he was like, "Oh, the you don't understand," and he's just, full of shit. He's a bad liar. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
Imogen Poots can see right through him. But yeah, then he encounters the wife. And what did you think about this when he meets the wife? This is a scene I feel like people tend to find maybe the most frustrating part of the movie.
That was I was just thinking, if I was in that situation where my husband left me for dead, was only thinking about himself, he would never though. But if I was in that situation and then I have been bitten, haven't changed or anything, and then I've been quarantined and I'm strapped to a bed as this woman is, and this motherfucker comes up and he's crying and smiling and asking for forgiveness, I would be so repulsed by this fucking coward. You have no right to stand there and try to beg for forgiveness and then have the fucking audacity to cry. Bitch, you left her. Oh my god, I was so mad in that scene. And then why does she say I love you to him? Out of all the things you could say, or you could have just not even said anything and that silence would have spoken volumes, but you still love this man? Explain that to me because I can't. No. No.
In a time of rage, she's just filled with love, you know? She is immune to the rage.
But
I don't know what
that
that's about.
but that's still a good emotion to hold on to if your husband leaves you for dead in a post-apocalyptic world here.
Oh, I get the vibe that she's still pissed, and I don't really remember how she delivers that "I love you," but I wanna believe she didn't mean it or I don't really know what that "I love you" is. I've seen this movie a bunch, and I would have to rewatch it to it feels ridiculous saying that and really pay attention.
So when I was watching it, I was thinking she knows that she's infected and she's saying that to lure him in, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
That's what I was thinking.
it's starting to click for me again, and that is the way that I remember initially reading it, and I think I've been kind of reading it that way. She was trying to kind of lure him in to get infected, and it really backfired on her. This is where the movie for me kind of feels like it's throwing away a lot of its opportunity. That they infect him, they kill her, and then later and we'll get to it, the firebomb, they destroy her blood, they give us a clear shot of the blood getting exploded in the fire. So they're literally burning just different opportunities to do stuff beyond it just being a zombie movie, which when it comes to being just a zombie movie, I think it's pretty good in that category, especially in comparison to a lot of the zombie movies we get. But yeah, it seems like this movie enjoyed being like, "Nah, we don't wanna do that. Not interested in that." Him, nah. It just drops a lot of things.
It does. And it was actually funny because I was watching this and it was at the point where what's his name? Idris British, whoever you said. I'm so bad at these
British
guys' names.
Elba. No,
British Alba.
Idris Elba. Idris
Idris
Elba is
Alba.
his name.
Yeah, he gave the order for the military to just not just shoot the infected people, but to shoot everyone now, just to kill everyone. And
It's a ballsy move.
oh,
You kinda
definitely.
gotta do it, right?
Yeah, at that point you have no choice. You can't even spot out the people that are yours.
I mean, they locked them all in a room.
Yeah, that part was intense though, I'm not gonna lie. Just okay, you're lying saying, "Oh, we're putting you all in here for your safety." Everyone called bullshit on that, and then the kid Andy sees his dad as an infected person, so or I'm just going to fucking say zombie. Fuck this infected shit. But yeah, it was funny because I was watching it on my own originally and then my husband got home early and he was on the phone and he was like, "Wow, Mercedes is watching a movie with guns in it. That's not really heard of. She doesn't do stuff like that because I'm normally just
Mhm.
watching slasher films." So for me to watch that, he was just like, "You should have waited and watched this with me." I'm like, "I didn't know you were going to want to watch it, but I should have known." So that was bad on my part.
Was it the scene where Hawkeye's picking off all of the zombies and the civilians? Was it that
I
scene?
I think it was the part directly following that, so he walked in on, like, shooting, but
When they're
then
in the
when he
streets, kind of,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, he walked
somebody's
in on that
sniping
part.
them?
Yeah, that's the part that he walked in on. So,
So it
uh
looks like you're watching, like, Black Hawk Down or something.
mhm, yeah, because then he got real invested in the movie, and he started watching it with me. I offered to restart it,
Did he
but
like it?
he had fun bitching about it. So,
Okay.
so you know his profession,
Yeah.
so he's well acquainted with this sort of thing, and it's actually comical watching any type of movie when they're dealing with firearms because he will critique the shit out of it, and the entire time he's
Mhm.
like, "This dumb bitch, she's useless. Like, where's her gun? What is she doing? Where's her armor? No, they're doing this wrong. They're doing this wrong." And the funnier scene was, or the funnier part was during that sequence when Hawkeye's trying to get them, out of that general zone. They start showing, I think they started showing like little clips of the city, but then they show, it looks like a silhouette of a figure, and he's like, And who the fuck is this guy just watching them? Is this Batman?" But it was a statue that they they just focused on. He was so mad at that
Oh,
point, but yeah, it was amusing.
yeah, it's like some colonizer or something that
Mhm.
they showed for a second. I don't know who that was a statue of,
I
actually,
didn't
to
either.
be
I was
honest.
hoping you would. It was
Yeah, I
someone.
shoulda looked it up.
It was somebody. They're not important.
Yeah, that scene where they were all locked in that basement and the kid's dad, played by Robert Carlyle, I don't know if they really say his name. I'm just gonna keep calling him Dad throughout the movie, but his name's Donald. I don't know if that,
Mhm.
like, matters. So I'm gonna just
It
he's
doesn't. We could just call him a coward.
yeah, the coward, the dad, the deadly coward, um, the cowardly dad, however you wanna refer to him as. But he
Douchebag.
yeah, bad husband, not husband of the year or husband of the year, ironically. We
Mhm.
can go on for days. But when all those people are dying down there, I mean, that's like in the theater, that was like fucking wild to see. It doesn't hit as hard watching it as home, but I'm very claustrophobic, and that would be my worst case scenario in a zombie outbreak. Fully packed room, dark, no exit. I mean, it's kind of the visualization we didn't ask for from the first movie where Mark is explaining at the airport when it was packed. He was stepping on people. You had to climb over people. I could see my dad. Literally, this kid can see his dad. It's the visualization we didn't ask for. I feel like I got it in the first movie. Also, too, it was so dumb when the dad breaks through and the kid sees him and then runs into the crowd. What does he yell to them? My dad's in here. My dad's in here. Kid, that doesn't mean fucking shit to anybody. No one gives
Right.
a fuck about your dad. They don't know
No one
he's
gives a fuck about
infected.
you. Exactly. Just
Yeah.
smarten up, toughen up, kid. This is all your fault anyway. I don't know. That all the characters, they make a stupid move each time. Especially with the dad too. I just want to mention it. I love
Just
the
keep
way he
ragging
died.
on him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Give me this one last moment. Just cuz when the wife tells him like, "Oh, I love you," and his dumbass fucking kisses her. I don't know why he thought that was okay. He clearly sees that she's restrained in that bed
Oh.
and something is wrong with her eyeball, and he kisses her. Okay, I love my husband, but if we were in that predicament, I wouldn't have let him kiss me.
She was trying to get him to do it though. This is where you get the eye squishing too. What did I told you you would see it coming. Did you see it
Mhm.
coming? You would know?
I
Uh,
I did
did
see
you
it
know?
coming at the last second. I did, and like, right when he jumped on her and he grabbed her face, I'm like, "Ah, fuck, this is the part that Nick was mentioning." So, yeah, I had to look away. I let my imagination run wild at that moment, and I was glad they didn't show a headshot of her with her eyeballs pushed into her eye sockets, but what a way to go. You kiss your wife, you ultimately become infected with rage, you kill your wife, and then you're just a soulless zombie at that point. Wow. He deserved that. He deserved worse than what he got, honestly.
And yeah, they make the weird choice too to just have him be the zombie that sticks around. He survives. The
Mhm.
fire explosion happens and he's like sitting there. as the fire flies past. I was like, "That's not realistic." Like, why is it following, you know, the Hurt Locker and his makeshift team through the tunnel, but it's not, uh, making corners to get him?
The part where they're, like, trying to go from point A to point B in the street, the little kid, Andy, he makes a run for it, and then when he goes around this one corner of this building, he sees his dad, but then once Hawkeye and everyone else comes, the dad is gone, so I don't know if he was, hallucinating seeing his dad there or his dad was really there and he went to hide after. I don't know if or it's not really important, but that did catch my attention.
Which moment was it?
They were in the street after like Hawkeye's not on the
Oh,
team on the side of the military anymore.
yeah.
He's trying to help them. And yeah, the kid he sees his
Yeah, he
dad.
pulled a Batman.
Yeah, the kid, he runs away from them, and you see his dad, like, across the street, but then all of a sudden, the dad is gone. I don't know if the kid was hallucinating.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had that same feeling the last time watching it. I was thinking, I don't know what they're trying to show there because his dad would have went after them. I think he was just hallucinating in that moment
Okay, right.
because the characteristics of his dad kind of show him to be a zombie that would just go after him. But yeah, it's weird the choices that they make, and they don't really need the kid to be haunted by his dad because they don't really do anything with it. This isn't a movie that's reaching for anything greater, but they're doing things occasionally that are weird, and it just, since they don't do anything with it, it just feels like, why is this in your movie, guys?
Mhm.
I don't get it. It doesn't really bother me, but it does take me out for a second because I think, what is this for? what what is this serving in the story? But
Yeah, we
I
already
don't
know
know.
this kid is gonna be traumatized seeing his mom the way he did, learning that his dad lied about it, and then seeing that his dad is infected. We don't need that visual of him seeing his dad or imagining his dad is right there. So, yeah, there was no point to do that, honestly. There wasn't. There's so many stupid scenes in this film.
Yeah. So basically, after all of this, Wind River himself, Jeremy Renner, him and his crew, so it's him, this like guy who's fairly annoying, he's going to be even more annoying later in the movie, the two kids, and Rose Byrne. I don't think there's anyone else in the group,
No,
but
that's it.
they're basically like trying to meet at a certain rendezvous point to hop on this helicopter. Jeremy Renner's character, Doyle, I think is his name, gives
Mhm.
this helicopter guy fucking zero notice that of the amount of people he has with him. I don't think he like informs him until they're face to face. It's like,
Mhm.
guy, like, give this guy more information. Why are you withholding so much? It's not like he has other people to talk to or there's more going on. Yeah, I get there's infected. Take care of those, but it's not like he has more people to talk to. Idris Elba fully drops out of this movie at this point. They don't really show what happens to him. So,
Right. I forgot about that. I just figured he died or he got blown up or something, but you're right. I don't know what happened to him. He wasn't important.
maybe he comes up in 28 years later, you know?
Watch, he does.
Yeah, that would be the weirdest character to bring back because he doesn't really do much in here. This was like at the point in time where he was getting hired or like about to get hired to play like Heimdall in the Thor movies. Like he would just kind of pop up. He hadn't exploded yet. But so they go to this like carnival, this like broken down carnival. I feel like that's a cool looking area. It looks very distraught and upsetting to be at. It feels like the end of the world right there. You didn't like the carnival?
I did like it. It made me wanna go to Six Flags, honestly. I haven't been there in a hot minute,
The
but
little merry-go-round?
yeah, that reminded me not of the actual merry-go-round there, but it reminded me
Yeah.
of the swings that they raise you in the air and they just swing you around. I don't know how that thing is like a safe ride, but I love it.
The really long swings, they almost I don't know how to
Mhm.
describe them, but it would go in a circle and maybe kind of tilt, in certain
Yeah.
areas a little bit.
Yeah, that ride.
I went on one of those in I think it was Indiana, maybe, and it went over the water. I don't know if it's Lake Michigan or whatever it was going over, but the swings would go over the water, and it was fucking terrifying. At the time, that was, like, the only roller coaster thing, quote, unquote, "roller coaster" thing I would go on. It
Yeah,
was
fuck that.
scary.
I'm not
Yeah.
getting on anything over water. Fuck you. Not you personally, but oh my god, that's terrifying. That is terrifying. I don't know how you got on that.
Thank you for clarifying, not me personally. Also, yeah, I didn't build the ride, so I didn't put it there.
But I mean, you were brave enough to get on it. I like getting on rides, but not like that. Not over water. That's my dumb brain would be thinking there's something underneath this water and I would probably freak myself out to the point where I would actually see something in the water.
A, like, octopus comes out and grabs you and brings down the whole thing.
Yeah, dude, every time I'm near the water, Lake Michigan, wherever, I'm staring at the water, anticipating a fucking tentacle. Like, I shit you not, that is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a shark, usually, even in non-shark a shark-like
Mhm.
fish, something to
Mhm.
bite me that I don't want. Water freaks me out. Open waters, I do not enjoy that much.
Have you seen the movie Underwater with Kristen Stewart in
Underwater
there?
Oh,
Yeah.
underwater, yeah, I have seen that, yeah.
What did you think of that film?
God, I barely remember it. Let me see what I rated it on Letterboxd and if I gave it a review. Guys, follow me on Letterboxd at Nicholas Ewers. I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I really enjoyed the ending.
But
Those are
that's all
my
you
notes
gave
on
it?
it. 3.5 stars. That was a while ago, though. I mean, that's a positive rating. That's good. That's above average.
Well, yeah, I could see that rating. That movie, oh man,
A lot of people give me that reaction to 3.5 stars. I mean, to me, 3.5 stars is a good rating. When I see that, that's a vote of like confidence for me. Not like extreme confidence, but that's okay. It's not a bad movie. 2.5 stars is where I would start to get offended. Maybe 3 stars. Three's like right down the middle for me.
yeah, well, I enjoyed that movie, and watching that, I did
I
not
enjoyed it
expect.
too.
Well, I didn't expect that ending of it too, but I think I enjoyed that movie more than you did.
Yeah, my buddy Doug, over from These Guys Got Juice, he, I want to say, really enjoyed Underwater as well. I'm a big Kristen Stewart fan, though, and so is he. K Stew,
Really,
all the way.
really,
Kristen Stewart? Yeah.
really, you're a big
What?
fan of her?
Really to liking Kristen Stewart?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. What do you think this you got some problems with K Stew?
yeah, I do. she so The main movies that I liked her in were Speak and The Runaways. And I guess this one too. I didn't mind her character in here. I It just annoyed me that she didn't have pants on throughout majority of the film or shoes. And I also figured she was pretty fucked because she was wearing glasses in the beginning, I think, and then throughout the rest of the film she doesn't have it on. But yeah, her expressions, the way she talks in her movies and in real life for that matter, she looks very spazzy.
So that's a reason not to like her? You don't like her?
No, she's spazzy. She's annoying. Maybe I shouldn't say that
Oh,
on the mic on air. Sorry about that.
have you seen Panic Room? She's in Panic
Oh
Room,
yeah, I forgot she's in Panic Room.
Adventureland. Zathura, The Love Lies Bleeding that came out recently, she's really good in. Personal Shopper. Case
Twilight.
Stew, man. Twilight. I mean, she's not bad in Twilight.
Are you serious? Wow.
Not bad
So
in
you were a
Twilight.
Bella fan? You were team Bella?
I was team Edward. Jacob needed to fucking chill.
He really did. He really
Yeah.
did. I hated Jacob. But I also hated Bella too.
Yeah, I was team Edward. I'm team Pattinson all the way. I'm on the Pattinson train till the end.
Okay. I respect
Twilight,
that.
seen all of them. Don't really love them. I don't particularly think they're good movies, but I have an appreciation for some of them.
I respect that you can actually say that. That's pretty cool.
Do you like Twilight?
I I will say that I do. I liked it more as a teen when it came out, but I wasn't like I didn't read any of the books when it came out, so I didn't know about it. I just liked it because Robert Pattinson was in it, and I liked him as Cedric
Hubba
from
hubba.
from Harry Potter. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Goblet of Fire. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Fucking hell yeah.
he stole my heart from that movie, but
I feel like he stole everybody's heart.
oh, he did definitely. I actually saw him at he was at Orland
R
Park Mall.
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, when
What the
Twilight was
fuck?
yeah, it was funny because, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. I was sick one week or so, and then when I came back to school, I was talking to a few buddies, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna see Edward after school." I'm like, "Who the fuck is Edward?" And they're like, "He's in Twilight." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what that is." And they were describing him. They're like, "He was in Harry Potter." I'm like, "Oh, Cedric, I like
That's
him."
so funny, you don't know what Twilight is.
I was sick. I was dead that whole week. So I don't know how I didn't see any previews, but yeah, I was out of it. And then they're like, "Yeah, he's going to be at Orland Mall today." I'm like, "I want to go." So I tagged along with them. It was funny. I only talked to like one of these kids out of this little group that I was with, but yeah, I tagged along and I was starving. I was overheating because we were in a big ass crowd and we were standing there for a hot minute. I guess he was actually in Hot Topic signing the Twilight books for a few hours and then he came downstairs. And when he walked up, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Cedric." And all he did was just smile and like do that thing with his hair, and, like running his hand through his hair. So,
Really?
yeah, I was a dweeb. I was
That's
into
so
it.
cool.
It was.
Oh, I'm into it just hearing about it. I love that story. That's so fucking cool. He did it back to you. That's awesome. And that was like right before he became like a manic, like not manic, but like people became manic about him. And now he's got this fantastic indie career, but you saw him when he was like a little baby.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I was gushing over him. That was a cool night. I was happy I went, and yeah, I forgot about
He
that until
probably
now.
liked that.
I know, right? What? How did we get from 28 weeks later to Twilight and Edward and Robert Pattinson? Oh my god, we went off the rails here. My bad.
I don't know, but speaking of like actors who are very specific and have like a look and a vibe, Imogen Poots, poot poot. I like she was in Green Room actually.
She
I forgot about that.
was. I was like,
Yeah,
"Wait, where is her name coming from?" Because I remember you saying her name before, and who does she play in Green Room? I can't remember.
she was the girl who like sliced open the dude's stomach, the blonde hair girl who makes it all the way to the end. Spoilers for Green
Oh,
Room.
right, right, right. They they should have watched it already. That was what, our second or third
Yeah, you
episode?
shoulda listened to our episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys are watching everything we cover in order, of course.
Exactly, exactly. I mean,
This
shout
is
out to the
your fault.
people. Right, shout out to the people that actually are watching these with us. You guys rule.
All the curiosity heads or whatever will figure out what
W
to call you
Yeah,
guys.
we'll work on that.
So, Imogen Poots, she's someone I just really enjoy her as an actress. I like her look, I like her vibe a lot. This is one of her earlier movies, I think. I could be wrong. We got to see her in Green Room. She's no V for Vendetta. That was like one of her first movies. But then, man, she would go on to do movies like Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. One of my favorite fucking comedies. Guys, if you haven't seen that, it's a Lonely Island movie, a parody of like pop documentaries. If you're a fan of music documentaries, you'll totally get it. Check that out. And like The Father, a beautiful movie about dementia. She's just a wonderful actress, and I really wanted to just shout her out as someone who doesn't get appreciated enough. She is in fantastic things and always delivers as far as I'm concerned. A plus from her. And I love that she's in this. She's the best face in the movie. It captures you, you know, when she stares at her dad, you can see like what she's thinking, I feel like. She's very good at conveying thoughts with her eyes, in my opinion. Like it
She's
seems like
very
she's thinking
pretty.
like I see through you. You're full of shit.
No, I was saying she's very pretty, and I agree with you. She can see, like, that her dad is clearly fucking lying. And they have a lot of shots of her just, staring off into the distance at times.
Mhm.
So you got to, just appreciate her beauty. And I completely forgot she was in Green Room. That feels like it was such a long ass time ago, too.
Yeah, that was our second episode we recorded. I forgot
Hmm.
up until this moment, actually, when I was building up into talking about her and did the poop poo, because then it clicked. I was like, oh yeah, I've done that before on this very podcast because of her. And I will continue to do it whenever we cover a movie with her in it. If she's in any more horror, Bavarian, whatever that is, I don't know. People say it's bad. Who knows? Well, maybe we'll cover it, but
All right. All right.
it seems interesting. But so after this, the helicopter shows up basically. The dude's kind of pissed. "Ooh, what the fuck, all these people?" The annoying guy I was talking about hangs on the side of the helicopter. A lot of people love this helicopter sequence. I'm very curious what you think about it, but I this kinda takes me out of the movie. I don't know if that's realistic, chopping people up with blades, if you could actually do that. The dude hanging from the helicopter, I feel like he would have a harder time with it. It's it goes so hard into action-packed mode, I don't really know what to make of it.
So at that part, my husband and I were getting pissed off at the one guy who latches on to the bottom of the helicopter just to try to make sure he's he's getting to safety. And then you have, I never remember anyone's real name, so I'm gonna just say Damon Pope. He's just fucking going crazy in the helicopter trying to just shake this guy off to drop his ass. And that doesn't look like the smartest move. He could probably fuck some shit up doing that. And then you see all of the fucking zombies in the distance heading their way. So I was like, he's not going to do it. Is he going to do it? I have a feeling he's going to do it. And I guess for the movie's sake, it's going to be done. And yeah, seeing him fucking chop off everyone's head, essentially, it was amusing, but also unrealistic. I think that would have done more damage to his helicopter than it showed. So, yeah, that That scene was just weird, but I felt bad for the guy because, yeah, he's only expecting to pick up his friend and them get the hell out of there, but no, he has, what, 4 people with him, was not anticipating carrying all that extra baggage. Poor Damon Pope.
Yeah, he was saying he was gonna get shot out of the sky, basically, if he brought all those people. Damon
Mhm.
Pope, is that a reference to something?
He was, that was his name in Sons of Anarchy. He played a big
Oh,
boss in there. What a fucking dick. I
okay.
hated him in there. So to see him as a not so much of an asshole in here, he's not even an asshole in here. He's just trying to make sure he's good and his friend is good. So to see him in here, it was such a contrast to who he played in Sons of Anarchy.
He's also in a couple Matrix movies and Zero Dark 30 too, so I was wondering who that might have been in reference to. I dig it though. What do you think about Jeremy Renner's death? This one always hits me hard. I hate to see him go. At this point, the movie just feels like it's just not going to let anybody off the hook. I don't see any real plot reason to kill off all of these characters. It's just they all can't fit on the helicopter, maybe. I don't fully get it. Maybe if Jeremy Renner's alive, then the kid doesn't get bit at the end. That was their logic, but I hate to see him go. He's a likable character.
He is. And that part, oh my god. So when they're in the car trying to, find shelter essentially from the zombies and then the gas, even though the gas still would have seeped in through all the vents.
Well, they
Um
like tried to block all the vents. They closed them and
Man, that shit still would
put a
have
bunch
seeped
of
through.
yeah.
That still would have seeped through.
It was
They
horror movie logic.
Yes, A for
It
effort,
was a
but no.
voodoo curse.
Yeah, blame everything on voodoo. Um, but yeah, he's talking to Rose Byrne and telling her, "I'll meet you wherever." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. That little connection right there, that moment, that was a little too long."
It was good.
So, it was good, but I'm like,
No, it was
does that
slick. He's like, "I'll meet you there," and he taps his gun like, "I'm leaving this for you. I'm not coming back."
Right, and I was like,
I
"Is
loved
he
it.
gonna die right now?" I was so sad, and then, yeah, he's trying to just, push the car for them, get the momentum going, and then they fucking burn his ass alive. I was so sad, and then the dumbass kids are just watching it happen, and Rose Byrne doesn't even tell them,
No.
like, "Hey, look at
No.
me," or try to distract them. No, she just lets them watch him fucking die. That no. I love Rose Byrne in other movies, but in this movie, she was so worthless. I hated her character in here.
I do give these characters the benefit of the doubt a little bit. They haven't nobody h none of these soldiers, they don't know what's in store for them. I get the idea that none of these people have really witnessed truly what this is like, because everybody who had witnessed it is dead. There's not really many survivors. A lot of people are being brought in. So that's the benefit of the doubt, is that I give them, is that these people weren't around for when shit really hit the fan originally. But yeah, she does seem pretty ill equipped. I mean, was it just that she was a doctor? Like, I don't really know what like medics in the military do in the field. But yeah, she really didn't do much at all.
She didn't, and I get it. It was because she was in the medical field in the military, so that was her primary focus. Even my husband, when he came in and watched the rest of the movie with me, that was why he was complaining. Where the fuck is her armor? Where are her weapons at? And I was explaining, well, she's just a doctor in here, so she probably wasn't prepared in that aspect. But
She should
even
have a gun of her
she
own.
yeah, she did have one in a holster on her person, but she doesn't ever fucking draw it out, and then when her and the kids are in that tunnel or whatever, her dumbass is using the rifle or whatever she had and using the fucking oh, she keeps pointing it at these kids while she's trying to talk to them and guide them through the tunnel because she had night vision or whatever. And it's like, dude, that's so bad. You should be in front and having these kids follow you. And then she ends up getting killed by the
Yeah.
dad. That she served no purpose in this film. None.
Yeah, she should have been in front. Maybe she just wanted to have eyes on them, but it's like have her go in front, maybe have them like grab onto like a pant leg or put their
Mhm.
hands in like her back pockets to guide them
Something.
through it or something. Not
Mhm.
verbally guide them through, guide how you would guide a blind person, physical contact and touch. But I do really like that the dad beats her to death with a gun. I thought that was kind of a funny move because they're not like the undead zombies, and that's kind of a reminder from of that. The squeezing in the eyes thing I thought was a bit too much, just because they did it in the last movie. But
Mhm.
he was like punching his wife's face at a certain point, and it was like very sloppy. I
Yeah.
kind of like those aspects where it's like, oh, it's very human, not just brains or that type of
Right.
behavior.
Yeah, I didn't like that they were, doing basically a callback to how the first film they had a kill scene with eyeballs or involving pushing the eyeballs inward. They didn't have to do it again in this one. They could have just, he could have just beaten the hell out of his wife, beaten her to death or whatever, and that would have been a more acceptable death here. But yeah, and that could have just been the way this guy kills everybody, just beating the fuck out of them. But yeah, she I laughed at that part too. She was so useless in this film. I'm sorry, but she was. I love her as an actress, but she sucked in here.
You like her when she's with Seth Rogen, but that's it.
I like her when she's with Patrick Wilson in Insidious.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
one or the other. Seth Rogen
Yeah.
or Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, just not in the military.
So, yeah, she gets the shit beaten out of her. She gets her fucking socks rocked or whatever you want to call it. And then the dad bites the son. There's a lot of hesitation I remember happening in this moment. It's very quiet, very moody. The movie acts like it did anything with the dad the whole time, but it didn't. So it feels like a bunch of shit got cut out involving the dad, and now it's paying off something that we didn't see. It's very odd, but it may be the clunkiest part of the movie, actually, is this dad stuff that we're getting right here. And the Imogen Poots shoots the dad, kills him, and then the son runs off. He's like, "Don't look at me!" And she's like, "No, Andy, Andy!" And he falls, and then she comes up to him. He's like, "Am I infected?" And she's like, "No." And he is. Look in his eyes. It's like, "All right, you fucking lied." And everybody's gonna be doomed. I wonder, again, spoilers, guys, we're at the end, but you should know already. But I wonder if any of this is gonna play into fucking 28 years later, if that one's gonna ignore this. I wonder how they're gonna play all of like just the events of this shit. Because they kind of fucked it all up, these two kids. They're not any better I mean, Imogen Poots, I'll kind of give her a break. She does suck for letting Andy on that plane, as she knows what's at stake, but she has one by one lost everybody. She got her mom back and lost her mom all in the same day. But it's like Andy has single-handedly fucked up everything right now. He is no better than his father.
Or Andy Barkley, in your opinion?
The apple does not fall too far from the tree, as the phrase that I have coined.
Oh, you coined
And
it?
I coined it. Andy Barkley is better than this Andy. They're both Andys, damn, the 2 Andys. Battle of the
I
Andys.
know.
I'll take Andy Barkley any day over this little Andy. Andy.
Yes, Andy Barkley is the shit. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, this
Yeah,
the
Andy
whole
Barkley actually
fucking
made it to
virus.
adulthood too. You know, I don't know if this
Exactly.
kid's gonna be an adult in 28 years later. Maybe it's about him. Maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson is this kid grown up. Who knows? Maybe Ray Fiennes is this
Well,
kid grown up. Who knows? Another Harry Potter character.
help me understand the ending then, because I we were under the impression that they crashed, like, once they make it to the helicopter, we thought that the helicopter crashed and they died.
So they make it on the helicopter. Well, you didn't see the shot of the infected running into Paris?
I did see that, and then it shows a part where after that, you just see the inside of the helicopter, and
So that shot was right before the Paris shot. My impression of that was because don't they do they do 28 days later after it cuts to black before the radio thing? Does it say 28 days later after that?
I think it does.
So, like, if that's the case, I would have to double check. I like didn't clock that, but for some reason I remember it being the case. But my impression was that they made it off. They made it out of the UK. They're in Europe on mainland with regular people, and this kid, you know, he carries the virus, but he's not immune to it somehow, some way his saliva, his blood, something came in contact with somebody else, and this fucking kid started it all over again. And the helicopter crashing, I didn't necessarily, I mean, that could have been both of them crashing. I just kind of took that as like shit hit the fan, worse than before. This guy's dead now. The infected are in Paris. Everything's fucked. This is no longer isolated to an island anymore. And I kind of just took it as like, something happened after they got on that plane and it involved that boy. But I didn't have a definitive answer. But my thing I didn't know I didn't think they like crashed and then something happened. The movie does kind of play it out like that happened though.
Oh, well, your ending answer is a lot better than what we thought,
N-
so
no, what
yeah.
you guys thought is what I had thought initially, and this is just something where it's like after years of like watching it, I kind of came to that. Honestly, my not watching it a little bit today before we started recording, but last week when I had watched that, that is actually when I came up with this interpretation because I
Mhm.
never fully had a clear idea of what that because it doesn't really communicate much at all with that ending, especially if it does have the 28 days later. But that was something where I was just like, okay, what did happen here? What can I piece together? Especially with 28 years later coming up, they might expand on this. What do I think happened from cut to black and Paris infected?
No, that's a good way to see the ending. I honestly feel like 28 years later is going to ignore 28 weeks and just continue from 28 days.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. It does seem that way, like that is a possibility because as far as I know, let me double check. Yeah, Alex Garland did not write 28 Weeks Later, and Danny Boyle didn't direct anything aside from the opening segment where the dad is a coward for the very first time, as far as we know. But and Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are both coming back. I think I had said this maybe on the last episode. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are both coming back for 28 years later. And then a year after that in 2026, an Alex Garland written 28 years later part 2, The Bone Temple is coming out, directed by Nia DaCosta, who did Candyman, the remake or the sequel, whichever you want to call it, Little Woods and the Marvels. And then this doesn't have a year or a title yet, but 28 Years Later, Part 3, Danny Boyle directing again, and Alex Garland writing. Yeah, that's what we've got coming up in store. So this could very well just ignore weeks since none of the creative team really seems to be coming back, and none of the original creative team had much of a impact on this movie, as far as I know.
I would be okay if they just skip over this film and go back to 28 days. So, yeah, any final thoughts on 28 weeks before we wrap up the episode?
Yeah, I would like to say on your statement you just made, the movie does have to make a decision, I guess, if they don't have 28 weeks later in the timeline. And I only speculate this just because I don't know what 28 years later is. I have avoided watching a trailer. I'm going in as blind as possible. It's going to be a fucking weird experience. I feel like this movie's going to be totally out there. But if they choose to ignore 28 weeks later, then that would mean they're ignoring the infected dying out, people trying to rebuild, and the infection getting off of uh, the United Kingdom and spreading throughout the rest of Europe, possibly the rest of the world. So that's something we have to consider if we're going into 28 years. I wouldn't mind if they ignore it. I'm interested to see what they do. Final thoughts on this. I mean, you guys already know I'm very forgiving of it. I've share a lot of criticisms other people share. I'm forgiving of it in other areas, but yeah, this movie was very formative for me, and I fucking had a great time talking about it with you, Mercedes. I This is one of my favorite episodes actually we've done today, and for that, I mean, I love this movie even more. A lot of fond memories associated with this thing, so can't really hate on it. Had a good time with this episode, had a good time talking with you, had a fucking good time watching the movies the movie not too long ago. It's been good. Like 28 weeks later. Fuck yeah. I'm all about it.
Well, I could see why you hold it like a little close to your heart in a way because of the history you have with it. Um I wasn't a fan of this one. I really wasn't. I enjoyed making fun of it. It made me appreciate the first one more. Like 28 Days when I watched it, I was just uncomfortable. Like I've said, I am not a big fan of zombie films. Anything dealing with viruses like that, it freaks me out. But just watching how chaotic this one was, it really made me like the first one more to the point where I wanna watch the first one again, like, now, pretty much,
Hell yeah.
not months from now. I do wanna watch it again just so I can be like, "You know what? This is a good ass
You're
film."
going to watch it 28 days later, you could
Right,
say.
exactly. And then, I enjoyed the fact that my husband came home and got into the film just so, yes, he can critique it. But a lot of times, like, I feel like when I put on a horror film, he's not really into it, depending on what it is. So I got to enjoy that. And then I did enjoy talking about it with you on the podcast. So thank you for another great episode.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you got to share your opinions, and hopefully you got out all your criticisms and got to dog on it as much as you like wanted to. I
Yes.
mean this is one of my favorite episodes we've recorded, so I hope the listeners share that sentiment too, and I hope you feel the same. I enjoyed this one a lot. This is a great one. And guys, we're gonna see you next week for 28 years. Mercedes, should we just go ahead and tell them what's coming after 28 years, just in case, God forbid, something goes wrong with the release of that episode?
Yes, let's just give it to them.
Give it to him hard, give it to him raw.
So guys, after all of the zombies wreaking havoc on everyone. We're going to go back to slasher territory and we are going to be covering the Scream franchise. I am fucking here for
Woo!
it. um so Nick,
Oh wait, that's Psycho. Wrong,
that's
wrong
Psycho. Wait,
knife
wrong one.
knife movie.
You got to sing Red Right Hand with this film. That's
Or
basically the
Creed. I get to sing
or
Creed on an episode.
Or yeah, you could do that. You sing Creed, I'll sing, Nick Cave over here.
Yeah, Scott Stapp's gonna come out, guys.
Yeah, yeah, let's go. We'll get into those, but yeah, Scream, very near and dear to my heart, love it so much, and that's actually a big blind spot for you, so I'm
Mhm.
excited for it.
One of my more shameful blind spots next to the fact that I haven't watched most of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but we've been living in a lot of slashers, so I'm avoiding pulling the trigger on that one a little bit.
It's okay. I'm guilty of not watching a lot of the Nightmare films, but it's because of how some of the death scenes play out. But we'll save that for when we cover Nightmare because we will.
Hell yeah, guys. Hope you're excited. Hope you're excited for 28 years later. That's going to be fucking wild, man. I'm super pumped for it. I hope you guys are too. This is going to be a fun one.
Hell fucking yeah. I'm so ready.
Well, guys, we hope you had a good time. As good of a time as we did. We've been Morbid Curiosities.
Woo!